This is Never Down, Never Out with T.R. Matson. This podcast is about discipline when motivation fades, resilience when things get hard, and showing up when quitting would be easier. No hype, no shortcuts, just the mindset required to build something real. One day at a time. Let's get into it. Welcome back. All right. There is no way that tomorrow's episode is episode 14. That's insane. We're 2 weeks of doing this. 2 weeks you've stuck by me. You've listened to my ramblings about whatever it is we're talking about. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. When this idea came to be, I never expected the outpouring of support that I've gotten. So I just wanted to take a moment at the beginning of this and say thanks. Tomorrow is episode 14. That's wild. But before we get to episode 14, we need to record episode 13. A topic near and dear to my heart. I love this topic. We've talked in the past about motivation versus discipline. So now we have a very clear-cut understanding of what discipline is and what it is not. Now today we're going to take that and we're going to discuss the topic of the importance of discipline when nobody is watching. Discipline at its truest form. Because let's be honest, we all love a little bit of an audience. Fair? We're all working hard. And for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to assume that we're all, at our core, genuinely good people. So it feels good when other people see us working hard. It feels good when other people take notice, whether it's our significant other, our family, our close friends, our coworkers, people we're in class with. It feels good. It validates the time we have spent doing the thing. But here's the key. All of those people noticing doesn't mean anything. Has zero bearing. Unless you truly are a narcissist to the utmost level. It has zero bearing on whether you're going to be successful or not. What does play a huge factor, and we've spoken about this before, is discipline. Creating those schedules, those checklists, accomplishing things day in and day out, hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, is truly what is going to get us where we need to go to be successful. And that's easy to do. Once you figure it out, it's easy to do when people are watching. But what about when they're not? That's when it's tough. I remember back after the first book was published, Trees in Flight came out, and I was working as an airline pilot, also as an instructor for the airlines in the simulator, doing a lot of side jobs for the instructor world, writing curriculum and doing stuff that was extra because it had become my mission, right? I left the military, I had no mission. Initially, my mission was to learn how to be an airline pilot. And then once I figured that out, I realized there wasn't as much of a mission as there was in the military. So I was seeking a mission, and I found it in the training department, and I poured my heart and soul into it. And then in 2020, when I set the goal to finish the first draft of Trees in Flight, I was no less busy than I was prior. You know, a lot of people in 2020 had a lot of time off, and I wasn't one of them. In fact, I was probably busier. So fast forward to the book is published, right? People are starting to take notice. I'm starting to, get good reviews, things like that. I'd often get asked, like, well, when do you have time? Dude, when do you have time to write a book? I don't have time to write a book. And I would laugh because I would always answer the same because it's the truth. I'm not going to BS people. Everybody has time. It's what you choose. Do you choose to go watch TV? Do you choose to play video games? You prioritize every minute of your day. And during the time when I wanted to finish that book, often it was before I taught a sim for the day. Okay, that doesn't sound hard. You're like, all right, Todd, cool. Whoopee, you wrote a little bit and then you went to work. Anybody could do that. Well, let me make it clear that most of the times I taught simulators were the first thing in the morning. 5 a.m. start time. So in order to get the writing in, I often was up at 3 a.m. writing. Now, could I sustain that my whole life? No, I would be tired. I would be burnt out. But this was a phase. This was just a season of my life to accomplish a goal. And what I learned is that when the house was quiet, when nobody was awake, was the perfect time for me to be able to transport myself from my great reality, my wonderful home, my wonderful wife and kids, to the dark places I needed to write a military thriller. So it took discipline that my kids never saw. Oftentimes my wife never saw. She was still asleep. And certainly the people that were reading my book never saw. Nor did my coworkers or any of my friends. In fact, the only people that may have noticed is if somebody was up on my street going to work and saw the light on. But that time at 3 a.m. was so valuable for the success of that book. And nobody was watching, ever. So our discipline to do the hard things that we need to do to accomplish our goal, our discipline is incredibly important. But the discipline when nobody's watching, the discipline it took for me to not open up the internet and scroll or look up stuff about cars or anything else. The discipline it took for me to open up my word program and to type words when nobody was watching was the discipline that earned me a book. So, what are you doing right now, today, when nobody's watching, that is moving you closer to your goal? Do you open up the internet and scroll endlessly? Or are you coming up with plans for how to sell more things or learn more or write your story? Do you choose to go for a walk or a run or workout of any sort? Or do you choose to play video games or watch TV? Not when your family's up, when everybody's asleep, when it's just you. Because that's the truest form of gut check. Because if you cannot convince yourself that it's worth doing the thing that you're working towards, how could you possibly expect anybody else to be convinced? If you don't own your mind enough to be disciplined enough to go through the work, to go through the hard things when nobody's around, how could you expect them to support you when they are? You see, those are the easy times. When our friends and our family and our coworkers that support us are there, that's easy. But when it's just you versus you, nobody else is watching, nobody else will know. It's so easy to just waste the time. It's so easy to not write the words or do the workout. It's so easy not to study when you're the only one in the library. Because nobody will know. You often hear stories of great athletes that would show up before anybody else and stay after. They weren't doing it to get accolades. They weren't the first one in the gym because they wanted people to see that. They had built and calloused their minds to have the discipline, to know what it was going to take to be better than everybody else in their craft. And they knew that it wasn't going to happen during the normal practice, during the normal weight session or field session or court session. That wasn't enough. It was going to take more. And that's why they were there. So when you sit here today with all of the things that we've done over the last almost 2 weeks, we've covered a lot very quickly. And you think back that we've divulged, we've split up motivation and discipline. That one to me is huge because I had it wrong most of my life. And we finally realized what it's going to take to get to our goal, to give our dreams life. And it's going to take discipline. The motivation doesn't mean anything. And then you take it one step further and you realize that it's not just the discipline, but it's the discipline when you're the only one that will know. It's the extra rep when nobody else will know. Oftentimes, I get to a point in a workout. I've got 1,000 meters left to go on the rower, and I don't want to be there. And there's nobody in the garage but me. And nobody looks at my workouts but me. It's so easy at that moment to just stop, to just give in to our inner feelings, to just think about how bad we feel in the moment, how tired we are in the moment, to let our minds try to convince ourselves, what are we even doing here? It's so easy. If I just stop now, nobody's going to know. Those are the most important moments of the work you're going to do towards your goal. Those moments of work, when nobody's watching, will cause you so much movement towards your success compared to all the other things you do. And it's so easy to forget that. But think about it this way. You're the only one. So if you can't convince you, who else is going to be convinced? Every one of you has been great for the time you take to listen to this, and I appreciate it. It is a process. and we're going through it together. I hope that my children and one day their children can hear all this and learn and take something away from me. But I know there's a lot of people out there in this world that are lost. And while I will never sit here and tell you I have all the answers, because I don't, I promise you, I struggle with all the things that we're talking about. I just hope that the work that I'm putting in, that you're not seeing, is enough that it makes a difference to somebody. That makes it all worthwhile. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where you're the only person in the room and you want to stop, keep going, because those are the moments that matter. Thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. If this episode helped you, don't just listen, apply it. Progress is built in what you do after the message ends. Remember, never down, never out. I'll see you tomorrow.